This is the Defenders podcast on TV Podcast Industries. We're talking about the third episode of The Eyes of Wakanda, Lost and Found.
You were missing in action for weeks, Basha. Tell me, did something happen on your mission?
Yes, I succeeded.
Do not let your hubris deny the ordeal you have been through. This is not some contest you need to win. It is people's lives.
Welcome back, fellow Defenders and fellow War Dogs, to our third episode of The Eyes of Wakanda, Lost and Found. Oh, look who we found in China, John.
I know.
Might just be an Iron Fist.
I think it might be.
Excellent. Can't wait to chat all about this episode. I'm one of your hosts, Derek.
Hello there, fellow Defenders. I am one of your other hosts, John.
Light up that Iron Fist.
Yes, indeed. So good to get the Iron Fist back on our TV screens. Yeah. Even if it is in animation.
Animation one. It's not Danny Rand.
It's not Danny Rand,
no.
But it is absolutely true to the Iron Fist mythology, which the Iron Fist can be anyone.
Absolutely.
Through time, and has been and has changed from time, across time, over time.
Yeah, there's a very cool series of comics that came out a couple of years ago, I think in the last 5 years, where they go back to the earliest legacy characters, so the first ever Black Panther and the first ever Iron Fist, and all of these characters that have a mantle passed down through generations. I love that idea. So there have been many Iron Fists before we got to our Danny Rand, who obviously was subject to 2 seasons of a Netflix TV show, and hopefully we'll see again in the future.
I hope so too. And I mean, there's also then the Matt Faction and Ed Brubaker Immortal Iron Fist as well, which explores in one of those the different Iron Fists through the age. There's Danny Rand. There's Orson Randall. It goes back to then a pirate Iron Fist, a female pirate Iron Fist. So it was really good to get that kind of concept here brought by having the Iron Fist being Jorrani, as we get to find out in this episode.
Absolutely. So we'll talk all about that in our episode discussion. But if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, we're on our third episode of Eyes of Wakanda. Subscribe to the podcast by going over to tvpodcastindustries.com. There's loads of ways to subscribe over there, and you'll get all of our episodes for our TV podcast that we've been doing for the last 11 years. We also want to hear your thoughts on the Eyes of Wakanda. Just one more episode left to go after this one, but email us about any of the episodes to feedback at tvpodcastindustries.com, or popping over to our Facebook group at facebook.com/group/tvpodcastindustries to leave your thoughts on the spoiler posts over there.
Yes, exactly. Derek, let us get into our spoiler-filled discussion of this third episode, Lost and Found. What are some of the episode details?
Well, as we mentioned before, the show is executive produced by Ryan Coogler, Brad Winterbaum, Kevin Feige, Louis Desposito, Gigi Coogler, Sev Ohanian, Kala King, Todd Harris, and Dana Vasquez Eberhardt. The show is helmed by Todd Harris as the lead producer on the show, and this episode, once again, written by Marc Bernardin, who we mentioned in episode 2, and directed by John Fang, with Todd Harris in this episode. So,
excellent.
All the good people involved in this one as well.
This is excellent, yeah, definitely.
So, John, do you want to tell us what they gave us with your synopsis for Eyes of Wakanda, Episode 3, Lost and Found?
Sure. In Kun'Lun, China, 1400s, Agent Basha infiltrates this high mountain society to recover a Wakandan artifact lost for over 1,000 years. Pretending to be a lost traveller, he is taken in and cared for by a woman called Jorrani. During his recovery, he is drawn into the community by Jorrani, and they develop feelings for one another. At the city's dragon shrine, Basha and Jorrani take time to offer meditation at the city's sacred dragon statue, where he spots the artifact as the tongue of the dragon. But after several weeks, Basha, now back to full health, attempts to quietly recover the artifact, but he cannot remove it from the statue, and has to take the entire head. He manages to escape Kun'Lun in his hidden flying craft, despite being caught stealing the sacred object. Back in Wakanda, he is greeted by Captain Ebo, head of artifact security, who is concerned that the intel for this mission was off. but Basha arrogantly flaunts how easy the mission was and how primitive he saw the people of Kun'Lun. But as Basha and Ebo replace the artifact, they suddenly realize that he has brought back an unexpected visitor from Kun'Lun who has infiltrated Wakanda. Basha finally catches up with the masked infiltrator, who has made their way to the artifact collection to return the sacred dragon back to its home in Kun'Lun. As they fight, it is revealed to be Jorrani, who is none other than Kun'Lun's protector, the Iron Fist.
Hey.
Deploying her powerful glowing fist, Jorrani manages to finally get Basha's attention, where he learns that the people of Kun'Lun had not knowingly stolen the Wakandan treasure, and that in fact, over the last 1,000 years, the dragon and the artifact has become a more important and sacred symbol to her city and society than it ever was to Wakanda. Knowing this, Basha and Ebo concoct a story to hide Jorrani's presence in Wakanda, and in turn, Jorrani plucks the tongue from the statue's head, saying if Basha had only asked, she would have helped. The Iron Fist returns to Kun'Lun with the dragon head, and Basha learns humility.
Excellent. He certainly needed to learn humility.
He really did, but I mean, it felt like a little bit of a naive arrogance at times, but then it did stray into just pure arrogance.
Yes.
And I kind of liked how Captain Ebo is trying to remind him, all the way that he's kind of got a misplaced confidence here. He should learn some hubris. Really,
yes. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's just this interesting idea, that Basha's gone out in loads and loads of missions. He's definitely more of a fun character than we've seen in the first two episodes.
Yes.
Fun war dog than the others. He does seem quite excitable. He loves his missions. He loves being the one that delivers on the mission he's been sent out on. The first episode dealt with slavery, and the second episode dealt with breaking friendship and the idea of being an undercover spy. And this one's much more of a caper.
It is, but it also deals with the notion of, I guess, symbols, identity,
100%,
and where effectively that might lie in terms of ownership. So I kind of like how this progresses. It is a light-hearted caper, but wrapped within it is something that is asking the question, well, this is also now important to our society and has a tradition and symbology, a spirituality going back thousands of years, which your society hasn't had, but it is equally important to yours as well. It also is, within this a bit of, well, if you don't ask, you don't get. And actually, in the end, Jorrani is kind of fairly clued in around Basha anyway, because she describes it as, well, you didn't think I believed your I'm a lost traveler story. So
just happened to be up in the mountains in China.
So I brought you in because I wanted to see what you would do. And ultimately, she's on his case from the start. So again, his immediate perception and opinions of the villagers or the, as I call them, primitive people in Kun'Lun, as opposed, I love the fact that he says they're worshipping this dragon, but I never saw one. It is literally just a story, a local tale and myth. And it's not until Jorrani is in Wakanda, is deep within the war dog's headquarters, that he realizes there is more to this myth than meets the eye, as you get her iron fist lighting up in order so she can escape from the binds that Basha has kind of put on her in their little fight sequence.
I know 2 Marvel projects based around the Iron Fist, and we still get the verbal story of how you have to beat Xiao the Undying and take its heart into you to get the power of the Iron Fist, and we haven't seen the bloody dragon again. They showed the dragon in Shang-Chi, they can do dragons in the Marvel universe. I want to see a dragon versus an Iron Fist, or a potential Iron Fist the next time.
That would be very cool, but I kind of like that they focused on the Wakandan element.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, the other protagonist here is the Iron Fist, is another, in a sense, secret world. You know,
Absolutely.
Kun'Lun, it may not have been here, but at least in the comics, you know, Kun'Lun is a hidden city, and it is not known to the outside world in the same way like in Shang-Chi, but equally like you have with Wakanda.
Exactly.
Wakanda is through tech.
Yeah.
Kun'Lun is through mysticism and magic.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
hence my involvement in this character.
And why you love Iron
Yes.
Fist so much. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And dragons are cool.
They certainly are. Absolutely. You know, I have to say my favorite thing about this episode is the fighting style of the Iron Fist. When they get it right, when Jorrani comes in and she's taking on the warriors of Wakanda, I love that with Ebo, where he's going, "Oh, I'll take you exactly where you want to go," and leads her into the room full of the warriors of Wakanda. It's a good joke. But she takes them all out, and I have to say the style of fighting that they give her is really, really good. It's really, really exciting in this animated show. So well done to the team behind it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love the fact that once they know that there is this, I guess, infiltrator, they don't know at the time, but Basha's kind of like trying to sort of make light of it, like he's done all the way through. He says, things go sideways in the field all the time. And Ebo's is like, but this is headquarters.
Exactly.
And he kind of, Basha comes back at him to say, well, no, but now it's the field because it's happening,
because the mission's going on.
The mission's happening.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like that. I liked Ebo as well, you know, kind of like Basha's friend, but it's unclear what their relationship, but I got the sense that they were kind of schoolmates and they just had gone on different paths. And while Basha was out in the field, he was a war dog. Captain Ebo is not a war dog. He is the keeper of the artifacts, but actually through this caper, he in a sense is looked on in a different light by the counselor when they kind of, you know, say that the whole thing with all this mayhem and chaos that's been happening around the headquarters has actually just been a planned exercise by Captain Ebo in order to keep the war dogs on their toes,
Everyone on their toes,
and to test out their resilience and the systems of Wakanda.
Absolutely. I don't know why I was definitely getting a fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Carlson kind of vibe between the two.
Exactly
I wonder if it's just a shaved head and
the tash.
mustache on Ebo, and also just that he's the really straight-laced one, and Basha gets to go out and live his dream of being a spy and enjoy himself without any real restraint. Whereas Ebo has to be really restricted as he's at home. But as you say, eventually by the end of the episode, he'll also become a war dog, being able to go out into the field, which seems to have been his dream as well. So that's quite cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I love the fighting style of Iron Fist, like you said. I think the fight between, or I guess it's more of the chase on the trains, where Jorrani basically says, "Oh, so it's the orange train I need to go." It's like
so
Basha kind of just, you know, gives her the intel.
I wanted to believe that Basha was trying to send her down the wrong path. You know, but you know, when you have a color code train system and you go, well, it's over in the orange area, you know, you will see the Wakandans build things very well, especially a good train system. So you know that's the yellow line.
Agreed.
It's a great fight, though. It did remind me of the fight with Killmonger and T'Challa and the first Black Panther movie, where they fight on the train system. And T'Challa uses the train system to try and beat Killmonger in that movie. Here we have the battling going all across this train system. I thought it was very cool. Really good fight again between the two of them.
Yeah, definitely. I like the kind of, you know, Jorrani and Basha. You know, there's that little bit of frisson between the two because, you know, as like I said, she wants to see what they're up to, but she did start to care for him. I don't think it's massively deep, but it's enough. It's almost like there was the start of the friendship, but it was coming from Jorrani. It seems as though Basha's, you know, the opposite of Bakai, of Memnon from the previous one. He's able to deal with separating it, whereas Jorrani was starting maybe to sort of live in the real world in that sense. So I like that, but
I do like the joke that the Basha may think he's better at this than he is. Jorrani, pointing out to him that you didn't seduce me, I seduced you. That's why it was so easy for you to get in, not because you're such an amazing person at seducing women, because this is what I wanted to happen so I could monitor all of the things that you were doing.
Exactly. And he's like, well, who are you? And she goes, I'm the fool who seduced a thief, which is a nice little line.
Nice line.
And I kind of like then the twist in the artifact room when she goes in there. Jorrani is like, this is what you do. You steal from other cultures. Mm-hmm. And this, that's her initial impression, is that he is going around stealing these artifacts from other cultures because it's not because they're not Wakandan, but it's simply that with the time that's passed, with it being out of their possession, it's also become important to another, in terms of, not a museum piece, but part of, this symbolic dragon statue in the shrine in Kun'Lun. And, she says, this has become more important to us and our culture in the last 1,000 years than it ever was to you.
Yeah. And if we got the timing right there, so the last episode, the Trojan War happened in 1900 BC, roughly, somewhere around there. And then this is taking place in 1400 AD. So you're talking 2,500 years from the last War Dogs mission that we saw, and now we're getting to thousands of years. So of course it's taking on a brand new significance. All of these items that are out in the world that were freed from Wakanda in a way by the lion in that first episode are getting their own life, I suppose.
Exactly.
And I love when Jorrani finds it out. She just goes, well, I'll just pluck the tongue out and I can take the dragon statue back, because that's the important bit. We don't care about your stupid metal. It's the dragon statue that's the important part.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing that's important. And it's to the point of, not everything has to be a mission. I think in a sense, what Jorrani is introducing here, even though it won't take on, is the idea that you could go out into the world and be diplomatic about it, to say these come from our world. Yeah. They don't take that on board because the whole point is this is really, in comparison, high tech. So we see it's 1400 AD, yet, Basha does have a plane, a flying craft, which he escapes from Kun'Lun.
Yeah, why does it look like a chicken?
I know, it does look like a chicken.
It's
1400.
Yeah, but it's got...
I like the chicken look.
It's white and it's got an orange bill at the front of it by the look of things. So, what do you do?
Chickens are cool.
They are. I don't know whether I'd make... surely something like a blackbird or a raven would be quite cool to base your ship on, especially if it's flying through the air in 1400 AD, which not many planes were around at the time, so something flying through the air. Or maybe, I guess, lots of people in the world might think it's a chicken or a goose flying through the air and just ignore it. Maybe that's what it is.
It could be like migratory birds.
Yeah.
Migratory chicken. The great migratory chicken.
Going from China all the way to Africa. Yeah. That's it. Carrying coconuts, I'm sure.
But I liked it. I liked the design, and I thought it was quite cute that, it kind of looked a little bit like a chicken.
It's an odd one. But to your point, though, that is very advanced technology to have out in the world. And if the rest of the world cottoned on and used the vibranium for something different other than forming into the tongue of a dragon statue, they may become just as advanced as Wakanda and pose a threat again. So they're still not willing to give that up, despite the guidance from Jorrani that maybe just ask and you might get what you want, rather than infiltrating a society and pretending you're a lost traveler on a mountain in China.
No, agreed. And I think that's it's just really nicely done. I do like the fact as well that the fight in the artifact room almost causes all the artifacts to be destroyed.
Yep. That's a way to deal with the vibranium, isn't it? I suppose you could just melt down all of these artifacts and taken the vibranium back into the society. You don't need to keep the artifacts that were taken from Wakanda, right? You don't need to create an artifact room, but I guess it keeps track of the some of the dozens of artifacts that have been brought back over the 1,000 or so years.
I think so.
2,000 years. I guess that's the way you're doing it.
Cataloguing them.
Exactly, John. Is there anything else about the episode you want to mention, John, that we haven't mentioned?
I think just that we do have Xiao Lao mentioned here by Jorrani in terms of how, she gets her cool iron fist and the glowing yellow fist here, that she has to beat the dragon, as you say, and take out its heart. So we have about Xiao Lao. I do like the subterfuge of the counselor. We haven't mentioned the counselor, but it's like the counselor, a bit like Ebo, but in a slightly worse way, is dubious about Basha and his capabilities. So he was certainly not happy that the artifact was kind of brought back with the head of the dragon around it.
Absolutely, but it does deliver one of the best lines of the episode where he goes, "Did something happen on your mission to Basha?" And Basha goes, "Yes, I succeeded."
Yes, it was good.
A nice arrogant line from Basha.
No, absolutely. So that's the only kind of note that I have, is because we haven't really mentioned the counselor, the Wakandan counselor.
Yeah, absolutely. The only one I have is just to mention, along with some of the other humor in the episode, that there is a very Scooby-Doo moment in the facility when they're trying to find the missing Iron Fist, and everybody's walking down different corridors at exactly the same time, missing each other by seconds. It did feel really like the Scooby-Doo cartoons of the 60s as well, which I thought was quite fun.
Yeah.
Always adds a bit of fun and lightness to an episode. So overall, John, do you defend the third episode of Eyes of Wakanda, Lost and Found?
I certainly do defend this episode. I've got a soft spot for it. I'm giving this 5 fisticuffs out of 5.
Fantastic.
Why not? Yeah, no, I just really enjoyed getting the Iron Fist on screen. I liked the complication that the Iron Fist brought here to Wakanda. It was a subtle one around ownership, around the symbols of different societies, effectively, and where they reside, and different symbols of their society, their spirituality, their morality, whatever it might be, and just how Kun'Lun had taken this on.
Can you imagine someone walking into Fort Knox and going, "See all that gold you have there? That's part of Atlantis, and we're going to take it back to Atlantis. I don't care if you've got some value in it that you've placed. It's ours."
Well, I mean, on a more serious note, it is the classic discussion around imperial or colonial ownership of artifacts, which we see in the Black Panther, the first movie, with the axe that Killmonger takes from the British Museum. Equally, the Elgin marbles in the British Museum, taken from the Parthenon in Athens. So
that's written into law that they can't be given back, isn't it, for some weird reason, even though they're not actually.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And I mean, whether it's other museums across Europe that have got artifacts of varying degrees of symbolism to countries or tribes or ethnic groups that, have lost them.
Absolutely.
So
we have a Caravaggio in the National Gallery of Art in Ireland for some reason.
And that's then there's the trade in them, so which becomes even more apparent.
Exactly, and complicated, but a great basis for this episode.
Yeah, definitely. So absolutely loved this episode. Give it 5 fisticuffs out of 5, but I think I'm being a little biased. Maybe.
Well, the crossover is always really important, and seeing an Iron Fist for the first time on our TV screens for quite a long time now is always really good.
Yeah, definitely.
And we have a little bit of feedback from our fellow defenders on episode 3 of Eyes of Wakanda. First up, an email in from Coffee and Vodka who says, "Greetings, fellow stowaway defenders. No long notes for this one. Cute with a side of Iron Fist origin interest. The same admiration for the creative team. And to finally mention it, the music throughout this short series has been phenomenal. Off to the last of the quartet. 4 domestic disputes, first fists, and untested trusts out of 5. Peace and take care, Coffee and Vodka." Thanks, Coffee and Vodka.
Excellent stuff, Coffee and Vodka. Really pleased you enjoyed the old Iron Fist episode.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. It's been a really good series so far, definitely. And this Iron Fist episode was great fun.
Yeah, and definitely get your point on the music as well.
Yeah, it's been really, really good. It's done by Hashem Nazai, an Egyptian composer who also composed the music for Moon Knight, so you might recognise some of his themes in there as well. And the music for Moon Knight was excellent. I remember talking about that at the time. Yeah. Oh, I hope they get back with the season 2 of Moon Knight.
Oh, definitely.
According to Kevin Feige, everything that's on the table is still on the table. So it's entirely possible we will see the return of Moon Knight at some point in the future.
Oh, fingers crossed.
It'd be great, wouldn't it?
Fingers crossed.
Thanks, Coffee and Vodka.
Thanks, Coffee and Vodka. Also, we got some feedback over on Facebook from Dr. Bob Phillips, who says, the second great Iron Fist. The first was in the Shang-Chi cowboy episode. That kid would be good too. Jorrani has everything someone imbued with the dragon heart should, plus a decent helping of human, not hoarding too. Did love the swipe at the stealing of artifacts gang. Wakanda has its own museum of other nations' antiquities. Bob adds stolen shamelessly from Victoriosity podcast serial. Best label for the British Museum I've ever seen.
The Museum of Other Nations' Antiquities.
Yes.
Very good. Very good. Well done to the Victorosity podcast, and well done, Bob, for passing that on to us as well. That's a great
Indeed,
name.
yes.
I do love Dr. Bob Phillips saying that this is the second great Iron Fist, and pointing out the first one was in the What If episode.
Yes.
Not in the 2-season Netflix show, I presume.
Yes, we must always remember the Marvel Netflix version.
Yes, we should. Yes, we should.
I think he got better. Got better.
Yep, yeah. And someone else got the power of the Iron Fist by the end of that series as well, didn't they?
Yes, they certainly did.
Yeah, Colleen Wing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, all good, that. Plus, I think in the Defenders part of the sort of tie together of all four, it was also really, really good.
Yeah, he was. And of course, his appearance in Luke Cage, the crossover episode and that, everybody was really praising Denny Rand. I think he gets a lot of harsh press over the years. He's had some great moments.
Definitely. And I mean, it was playing like the straight Danny Rand version of Iron Fist.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that comes with its own challenges, really. So, yeah, I thought in the end it integrated really well.
Absolutely. But it was great to see Jorrani here in the episode.
Oh,
glad you enjoyed.
Big time. Yeah. Yep. Thanks so much, Dr. Bob. Really glad you enjoyed this episode of Eyes of Wakanda. Good stuff, fellow defenders. If you have any feedback, thoughts, theories, observations on anything to do with Eyes of Wakanda, any of the episodes, please send in your thoughts to feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com. Alternatively, you can leave a comment on our spoiler post over on our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/TV Podcast Industries, and we'll delve into them on our next podcast.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the next podcast is the final podcast for the Eyes of Wakanda, episode 4, The Last Panther. Looking forward to chatting about the wrap-up episode for these 4 episodes of Eyes of Wakanda. They've got good fun, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Good little series, this.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for joining us. Talk to you again next time.
Yeah, thanks so much, fellow defenders, for joining us for the Iron Fist episode, Lost and Found. Until next time, keep watching, keep listening, and of course, keep defending.
Bye.
Bye.